Assalamualaikum everyone. I hope you are in the ping. Today we are going to discuss or meeting about budget proposal of Ministry of Finance. My name is Azril bin Ab Ghafar and I am Deputy Finance Minister 1. My friends will introduce themselves.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Raihana Sofia binti Suhaimi. I am the Secretary of Deputy Finance Minister 1.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. My name is Mohamed Aiman bin Zainun and I as the Deputy Finance Minister 2. Now I will call the next panel to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Akhma Shahira binti Azmi. I am the Secretary for the Deputy Finance Minister 2.
Okay. Our strategy is to safeguard the welfare of vulnerable groups. Ms. Raihana will continue about the background.
First of all, there are two programs that will be proposed, which are Incentive Sina Lestari and Youth Development e-wallet. The main objective of these programs is to safeguard the welfare of vulnerable groups by improving financial assistance through these programs. These programs will be focusing on all levels of households incomes, especially the B40 and M40 groups. That's all for the background.
Next, we move on to the description of the first program by Ms. Shahira.
Okay, so the first program is Incentive Sina Lestari. The activities of the program is being carried out as a stimulus package that emphasizes the financial aid for the citizens of Malaysia, especially B40 and M40. It will be led by the Ministry of Finance and will be assisted by the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia. And the funds for the program will be provided by the federal government and managed by the Central Bank of Malaysia. Next, let's move to the functions of the ISL. The main goal of this project is to relieve burden of citizens, especially the B40. This program aims to provide immediate assistance for the people from all walks of life, particularly those who are burdened by dependence and have limited income options. This program also to ensure that there are no Malaysians or any group that are left behind, as this ISL is more comprehensive compared to the previous financial assistance. Moreover, this program will target Malaysians who are classified as B40 and M40, which is the lowest category of households with a monthly average household income of less than 5,000 ringgit, which involves 10 million recipients. Okay, next, I will move to the implementations of ISL. This program will be held for 8 months that will consist of 10 stages. For the first stage, the Minister of Finance will hold several early stage meetings within their ministry to discuss the program. The meeting's purpose is to discuss how this program can be carried out and meet its own goals. For the second stage, MOF will hold a final meeting to finalize the detail of this program, which are ISL with the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia and Central Bank of Malaysia. For the third stage, press conference will be held by the MOF and the Minister of Finance himself will announce the ISL to the citizens. This statement will contain detailed information about this program. For the fourth stage, the application of ISL is open to all Malaysians that are eligible to apply. Terms and conditions applied. For the fifth stage, the result of the applications are released via the ISL website and ISL mobile application on 1 July 2021. However, if their application is unsuccessful, they still can make an appeal to apply from 1 July 2021 to 31 July. Next, for the sixth stage, the first payment will credited to the recipient's respective bank account starting August 2021 for the first batch. For the first payment, only half or less than the actual amount of incentive will be credited to the eligible recipients. First, Household with a monthly income of less than 2,500 ringgit, with each person receiving Rm 1,000. Families with a minimum of one child will be given Rm 1,000. Second, ISL will provide household with a monthly income of 2,501 ringgit to 4,000 ringgit will receive Rm 700 per person. While household with a minimum of one child will receive more than 1,000 ringgit. Next, the government will assist in the collections of household incomes ranging from Rm 4,001 ringgit to Rm 500 per month. 5,000 per month. This group would receive Rm 500 for single child household and 700 ringgit for families with 2 or more children. Lastly, single people earning Rm 2,500 or less are eligible for a 250 ringgit subsidy. Moreover, for the 7th stage, the result for the Malaysians who reapply to the ISL is out starting 1 September 2021 until 10 September 2021 for the second batch. For the 8th stage, the first payment to the second batch is being made. The first payment will be made to the corresponding bank firm starting from 15 September 2020 until 30 September. Last but not least, the 9th stage, the second and final payment on the remaining balance of their incentive is being made to everyone which is first and second batch. The second payment is expected to place in early 2022. Lastly, for the last stage, a special press conference will be announced by the Minister of Finance after all of the payment are fully made. This press conference is to inform the public that incentive Sinal Lestari is over. Thank you.
Very well, that sounds interesting. Next, we move on to the next program, which is Youth Development. This program is about encouraging young people aged between 18 to 20 years old to use digital money and cashless payment methods by giving them credit via e-wallet application, either Touch and Go, Boost, or Grab. Whenever young people want to buy or purchase something, they can open the e-wallet application from their smartphone and start redeeming it at any shop that accepts digital or cashless payment methods. The function of this program is to use digital money and cashless payment methods at the same time reduce the burden of youngsters who are not financially stable and have difficulties with it. The target group. As I mentioned earlier, this program is about encouraging young people aged between 18 to 20 years old to use digital money by giving them credit via e-wallets application, Touch and Go, Boost, or Grab. This program also will have collaboration with 3 ministries. The first ministry is Ministry of Education. The second ministry is Ministry of Youth and Sports. And the last ministry would be Ministry of Health. Let's move on to the implementation. This program will be conducted within 8 months. The first phase would be the Ministry of Finance, MOF, will hold several meetings with the other ministries involved, like Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth and Sports, and Ministry of Health. The purpose we collab with the other ministry is like Ministry of Education is to discuss how the project would be beneficial for public or private higher education institution students, since it involves students aged 18 to 20 years old. Next, the purpose of collaborating with the Ministry of Youth and Sports is to promote this program together as a vision of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, shaping a more prosperous and united Malaysia through youth development and sport culture. Lastly, the purpose of collaborating with the Ministry of Health is to endorse young people to download MySejahtera application and sign up for registration to receive the COVID-19 vaccine in order for them to be eligible to redeem 200 ringgit via e-wallet application. MOH wants to achieve at least 80% of Malaysian population to register and receive the COVID-19 vaccine. The second phase would be MOF will hold another meeting. This time, the collaborated companies like Touch and Go, Sdn Berhad represent Touch and Go e-wallet. Axiata Group Berhad represents Boost e-wallet, and Grab Holdings Incorporation represents a Grab application. During this phase, MOF with those three companies will discuss how young people will get credit within the three applications. MOF also will prepare a new department, which is Digital Wallet Development Department, which focuses only on the digital wallet, where everything related to the project will be settled there. Next, the third phase, the discussion with the new department of MOF, which is Digital Wallet Development Department. In this discussion, MOF will discuss further details about the pros and cons of this program and make revolutions of the cashless world. Young people will receive it 2 times a year. First month, they will receive 100 ringgit. Then after 3 months, they will receive another 100 ringgit. The total up would be 200 ringgit. The fourth phase is the Ministry of Finance with the other representative from MOE, Ministry of Youth and Sports, and Ministry of Health will hold a press conference to announce this program to the public. This information that would be announced is the date of the credit distribution, the amount of the credit worth, and how the credit would be cashed in. The fifth stage or phase would be starting from June 2021, young people are urged to download the MySejahtera application and sign up for registration to receive COVID-19 vaccine in order for them to be eligible to redeem 200 ringgit via the e-wallet application. Young people need to fill in their identity card IC number. MySejahtera application could detect whether they are Malaysian or not. At the same time, verify their information via phone number or email. After they have verified the account and register for the COVID-19 vaccine, they will receive a special or unique code via SMS. The code can be redeemed within the 3 applications. They can choose whether they want to redeem via Touch and Go or Boost or Grab application. The sixth phase would be as soon as the credit have been distributed via the e-wallet application, the department in charge will start observing the maintenance. The last stage would be for the next stage of receiving another amount of credit in September 2021. The second allocation will be given via the same platform, which are Touch and Go e-wallet, Boost e-wallet, or Grab application. Youngsters will redeem it in the same way as they did in the first batch, which is they will receive a special or unique code via SMS. Next, we will move on to the next. I will give it to Aiman Zainun.
Firstly, thank you to the panels for the details of explanation. Next, I will be explaining about the estimation on the allocation spending on the implementation based on the operational budget. As we are aware, this program is designed to help the B40 and M40 classes to cope with the impact of COVID-19 pandemic in the sectors of socio-economics. The first section of the operational budget is enrollment. For this special project, there will be 20 staff in total, and they will be divided in 2 departments, which are administrations and financials, where they will be paid for 12 months. For the administration staff, they will be paid RM 3,000 per month that involves 10 staff that lead to the totals of RM 360,000 for 12 months. Meanwhile, for the 10 financial staff, they will receive RM 3,500 per month and a total of 420,000 per year. So the grand total for enrollment is RM 780,000. Moreover, the services and supplies. The Minister of Finance will cover the salary of the 4 janitor services worker, which are RM 1,000 per month and will cost RM 48,000 for the 12-month period. Furthermore, For the software maintenance, MOF will spend RM1,800 for 12 months and another 108,000 for PC maintenance and services. So the total allocation for the services and supplies is RM51,600. Next, for the asset, which is office equipment, MOF will be spending RM35,000 for 12 months, while for the grants and fixed charges, which is maintenance fees, for the RM17,500. Lastly, the last section is other expenses, which is total fund allocated to the ISL recipients, as we mentioned before, with a total of RM12.7 billion. In sum, the total operational budget for ISL is over RM12.7 billion. Furthermore, I'll be explaining about the development budget for ISL for the period of 3 years. For the first section are services and supplies with a total of 12,900. Next is an assets with the amount of 5.4 billion and RM52,500 for grants and fixed charges. That sums up the total for the development budget is RM17,400. Next, I will pass this session to Mrs. Raihana Sofia to explain more about the budget's allocation for youth development program.
Thank you, Aiman Zainun. Next, another operational budget is for youth development e-wallet program. This program is to encourage the use of digital money and cashless payment methods to Malaysians in the technology sector. The first element of this operational budget is emolument, which involves 15 staff for technical officers in the department and another 15 staff for administration department. The salary paid for the employees is 2,000 ringgit for each staff for 12 months period, with the total amount 720,000 ringgit for all staff. For the second element, which is service and supply, the Ministry of Finance will pay the royalty to the three involved companies, which are Touch and Go, Push and Grab. The Ministry will pay 30,000 ringgit for each company for 12 months with a total of 1,080,000 ringgit. The next element for operational budget of this program is asset, which is a computer for each 15 technical staff and 15 computer for administration staff, with the amount 2,000 ringgit for every unit of the computer. So the total amount that will be spent for the asset is 16,000 ringgit. After that, the fourth element is grant and fixed charges, which is system maintenance that amounted 300 ringgit for every 12 months. So the total amount for this element is 3,600 ringgit. The last element is other expenses, which is 200 ringgit of credit will be paid for 2 million of young people, with the total amount 400 million ringgit. So the total allocation of operational budget for youth development program is 401,863,600 ringgit. Next, I'm going to explain about the development budget for youth development program for the period of 3 years. The first section are services and supplies with the total amount 9,720,000 ringgit. The total amount for the next section asset is 5,400,000 ringgit. The last section is grant and fixed charges with the total amount 10,800 ringgit. So the total development budget for the youth development program is 15,130,800 ringgit. That's all.
Okay. Mr. Aiman, you may tell us the summary of the allocation.
Thank you, Ms. Raihana and Mr. Azril. Lastly, the summary of estimate allocation for spending both program is RM 30.1 billion for operational budget and RM 15.3 billion for the development budget. So now I will talk about the objective fulfillment of the outcome-based budgeting system OBBS. For the first program, which is Incentive Sinar Lestari, it fulfills the increased accountability at all levels by strengthening the government framework by increasing accountability at all levels through the reinforcement of the government framework. It will make controlling officers and involved parties more aware and resources used. This budgeting system will ensure that officers and other involved parties are accountable and responsible when carrying out the program. Hence, by successfully managing this, it will be guaranteed that ISL will not be waste and spend any of the government funds more than it being allocated for this program. Moreover, it is to ensure that the government achieve the concept of values for money in budget expenditure management. This is because the program is designed to reduce the burden of the citizen, particularly the B40s and M40s in the midst of the pandemic. It is critical to ensure that survivors of these two groups who have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic. Incentive Sinar Lestari will assist in reducing the effects of COVID-19 impacts. Thus, the concept of value for money in budget expenditures management is achieved since the funds are being used to help to lessen the burden of the people. Thank you. Next, I welcome Mr. Azril.
For the second program, which is youth development, is also fulfill one of the objectives of the outcome-based budgeting system, OBBS. The first objective that fulfill the objective is to ensure the government will achieve the concept of value for money for budgeting expenditure management. This program is a collaboration with Touch and Go Sinar Berhad that represent Touch and Go e-wallet. Axiata Group Berhad represents Boost e-wallet and Grab Holdings Incorporation represents Grab. It is to make sure that the expenditure spent to use an e-wallet system is cheaper than creating an application just to redeem the goods. Not only that, this collaboration may pay a high fee for collaborations, but it is very efficient to implement a youth development program. Therefore, the collaboration with the application is worth and economical. The next objective that fulfill this program is to empower controlling officers to manage resources under their control. It means the department involved in executing the program knows which is a better way manage their expenditure without spending too much money just to obtain the objective. For example, the administration staff find a better way to execute the program by collaborating with companies like Touch and Go, Boost or Grab rather than establishing a new application just to redeem the credits. Instead of using physical money, it is better to use cashless and paperless to cut the cost of executing a program.
The first principle of outcome-based budgeting system OBBS is planning and constructing of the budget is based on a program-based approach. The first program is Incentive Sinar Lestari. By introducing this program, we are able to ease the pressure of citizens, especially those in the B40 and M40 groups. Next, the second program is Youth Development Program. We managed to create this program after gathering data and noticing that many young Malaysians do not prefer to use e-wallet money or e-wallet application on a regular basis. These credits are given not by debit card, but instead via the Touch and Go e-wallet, Boost e-wallet, or Grab application. The second principle is roles and responsibility of Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning Unit, and Public Service Department is examining the ministry's budget. For the first program, Incentive Sinar Lestari, the initiative seeks to provide immediate assistance to individuals from all walks of life, including those who are burdened with dependence and have little income choices. The second program is Youth Development, which is similar to the first program in that their budget allocation was also reviewed by the MOF, EPU, and PSD. Their roles are critical to the country's economic stability. They are responsible for managing it in order to ensure that money is spent wisely and that money is not misused. That's all for the second principle. Next, Ms. Akhma.
Next, the third principle is ministry programs aligned to the National Result Framework. For the first program, which is Incentive Sina Lestari, if the program is successful, it will have a significant effect on our country's poverty rate and reduce people's burden. Furthermore, this program will guarantee that people have a decent life and are not compelled to endure in poverty in the midst of the pandemic. The second program is Youth Development's e-wallet, which provides assistance to young people, especially those who do not know how to use cashless payment methods to purchase products from an online or offline store. In addition, young people should be encouraged to use cashless or digital payment methods rather than cash. Furthermore, the fourth principle is medium-term perspective in planning and budget. In the first program, which is Incentive Sina Lestari, since the program will have a significant effect on our country's economy, planning and budgeting must be undertaken with a medium-term perspective. The result of this program will have a beneficial effect on the future. The second program is Youth Development's e-wallet, which is appropriate for the program's budget and time frame since this program requires a large budget to execute. But this program will relieve the burden on young people who are struggling using digital payment methods. Okay, so I move to the Mr. Aiman.
Thank you. Besides that, the net principles of OBBS are strengthen performance management. To ensure that management efficiency is improved, it is necessary to understand how production affects the impacts and how impacts affects the public perception of Incentive Sina Lestari as it booked on the previous program, Bantuan Perhatian Nasional or BPN, by assessing the needs of B40s and M40s to reduce the burden and minimizing the impact in the midst of the pandemic. Next, the second program, Youth Development or e-wallet. This program output will have a greater influence on youth ranging from age 18 to 20 years old, as it has been improved through the three forms of e-wallet apps, access methods with a higher credit limit, making it more efficient and effective than the previous program. Plus, the net principle is empowering controlling officer to obtain the desired result. The director of operations or the ministry must exercise the control over the service to ensure that they are used properly. For the initiative, as in the ISL, this program requires more supervision from the heads of activities because it is necessary necessitate intensive planning to ensure that it runs smoothly. In the meantime, Youth Development by Wallet, it is necessary to track the implementation process in terms of whether the cashless is often used by the youth, as it's shown by the database from the application to redeem it. This control is helpful in determining the success of the program. Now, let's listen to Mr. Azril for the remaining principles of LBBS. Thank you.
For the seventh principle, which is incentive for result achievement. In terms of incentive, a variety of incentives would be implemented in order to produce the best possible outcomes for any of the programs. It is important to provide certain incentives to track outcomes so that the ministry can determine if the programs are working or need to be modified. For the first program, Incentive Sina Lestari ISL, where the incentive is provided by allocating funds to those who are eligible. This is to ensure that only those who are eligible receive the incentive in order to maintain the best possible outcome for the accomplishment and to avoid wasting funds. For the second program is Youth Development. Young people will be given credit twice in order to assist them financially through the use of a cashless application. They will have more pocket money and they will not have to waste the money their parents have given them. If the result is successful, each Ministry of Finance employee will receive a bonus for their efforts. And the last principle would be continuous development of ability. It is important that the programs progress be sustained in order for us to see the program's growth improve. Furthermore, as the ISL, as we can see, the program is done stage by stage, indicating the program truly focuses on continuous development. The program's outcomes can be seen in the fact that the recipient of this incentive will have a better life and financial situation. The second program, Youth Development, the use of e-wallet credit by the youth indicates the program's continuous development. They will use the credit anytime they wish. Since the credit is only accessible from e-wallet, there would be no issues if they misplace the credit they got. Next, we move on to the process of OBBS.
Okay, so there are 4 main processes presented as a strategic cycle who are involved in enforcing OBBS, but we will only discuss 2 of these processes, which are outcome-based planning and budget preparations. The first process is outcome-based planning for the first program, which is Incentive Sina Lestari. The Ministry of Finance must prepare for at least 3 years to ensure that this program is successfully implemented because it is a wide-ranging program that involves planning and abide the results and provide significant financial assistance and platform to ensure that B40 and M40 can continue their life as normally as possible despite the epidemic. The second process is budget preparations. The budget for the first program, ISL, has been allocated by the ministry and ranges from B40 to M40. Every category that will be implemented has its own budget. This is to ensure that the total cost of the program does not exceed the budget limit. This is due to the ministry's need to properly allocate the budget because this program will involve 10.6 million recipients. Thank you.
Next, Youth Development Program has the same process as the ISL program. The first process is outcome-based planning. This is because the program is consistent with the method that involves preparation for 3 years. The Ministry of Finance needs to prepare at least 3 years of preparation to ensure that young people could use e-wallet easily without having difficulties when using it at any online or offline stores. The second process for the program is budget preparation. This program requires through budgeting since it is a program that requires adequate capital. This budget is prepared at the beginning of the meeting and the budget is prepared in order to cooperate with e-wallet apps. Since the voucher will be given in 2 stages, the ministry must properly allocate the budget. That's all for the process.
To wrap this up, the programs of Ministry of Finance would be consistent with the aim of safeguarding the welfare of vulnerable groups. This is due to the fact that the programs and projects will be focused on how to assist financial improvement and stabilization. By providing such facilities, it would ease the burden of people, especially the B40 and M40 groups, as well as ensure that citizens have a decent life and are not financially exhausted in the midst of the pandemic. Ministry of Finance has high hopes that this budget would take a place in a harmonious, mature atmosphere and can finally be approved with some improvement as proposed. Ministry of Finance will continue to observe and always consider the best initiatives for the target group to ensure that the citizens would get tremendous benefit from the budget. Thank you everyone for your cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe everyone. May we see again in the next meeting.
May the force be with you.
Till then, keep me updated.
Hashtag stay at home.
Jaga kita.
Kita jaga kita.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.